Question of the day: when has board game production value elevated a game for you or detracted from a game for you? That's what I'm most interested in. Are there anybody in here who would say, hey, this game is produced wonderfully, but it really took away from the game? If that's you, put that in the comments below. Or if you had a wonderful experience with the game and excellent production value, put that in the comments below too. I want to know what your thoughts are on production value in gaming and how it affects the game, which that brings us to what we're talking about today. You'll notice this wonderful little tree behind me here. And that's right, this tree is not just something that's part of the allure of the game as a side piece. This is actually part of the board of the game itself. This is for Everdell, a worker placement game set in a wonderful micey world, kind of like Root we talked about the other day with the Redwall thing. This reminds me of Redwall and stuff quite a bit. But a worker placement game this time with wonderful, nice production value, things like this tree. This is the Evertree. Let's take a look at the game, how it plays right now, what this Evertree is for. We'll come back up, talk about exactly what we think about it, and then that's it. That's all. I mean, that's all there is. That's what this review is for. So you knew that. I'm Bryan Drake. Let's do this. So this is the game setup. Notice that the Evertree goes out on the middle of the board and the big deck of cards goes right there under it in the stoop. You've got your 4 public objectives that go here. They're special objectives that change each time you play. Here, here, and here, and here, as well as the extra meeples you'll get for the different seasons right here on top. You'll place 8 cards out here in the meadow. You can buy them straight out of your hand with the resources you have. So you'll notice on this cost here, it's 6 berries for Amelia Crinstone. Now some of these are legendary ones. This is from the expansion that comes in it. The legendary ones, you only have a couple of in the game at a time, and they're optional. You can you don't have to use them if you don't want to, but you'll notice also that there are 4 sections set up here that are specialized actions. They're not in the game every time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are actions that are there that change depending on what you lay out. You have your 4 types of resources and your 4 public goals that are always the same right up there in the top. So on your turn, you can do one of 2 things. You could either place a worker out, well, one of 3 things really. Place a worker out. You can build a card straight out of your hand, so you'll have a hand to start the game with. Now, some of these cards are locations and some of them are characters, but the point is you can never have more than 8 cards in your hand. It's a strict hand limit. There are unique critters, there are unique constructions, and there are common constructions and common critters. Obviously, you can only have 1 of each unique critter and 1 of each unique construction in your tableau. You have a tableau limit of 15 cards, and it's easiest to lay that out, 3 rows of 5. But on your turn, you could place workers in the worker placement slots. That would be these ones with the bare feet, or the little feet things there. Ones that are open are available to as many people that want to go there. Ones that are closed are only available to the amount of workers, obviously 1 worker. Now you'll notice up here, these are always on the board. These are actions like gain a twig and 2 cards, gain 2 resin, gain a resin in a card, gain 2 cards and a victory point, gain a pebble, gain a berry in a card, and then gain 1 berry. These actions are basically, once you have 3 of these types of cards in your tableau and 4 over there, you can take those for the points at the end of the game. These more specialized objectives have requirements that you have to have in the top, and then it gives you points based on doing certain things. I'll show you these up here. That would be these 4 up here. They have requirements based on doing those certain things that you can get more points with. The meadows down here, you'll seed it with 8 cards. Again, you can buy those cards straight out of here. On your turn, let's just say that I went here. Well, I would collect the 2 resin, and then play would go to someone else. Or instead, I could play a card out of my hand by paying the cost. So notice that this costs 2 resin and 2 stone. If I had that, I could then get the Gazette out here and put it out here. Now, this says place 1 victory point here each time you achieve an event. If there are at least 3 victory points here at the end of the game, gain 3 more. So normally it's worth 3 victory points, but then it could be worth 6 by the end of the game. This is the cost. This is what it does. Now down here, you'll notice, let's see if I can get it to show up. It says Town Crier down there in the bottom, very bottom right. It's hard to see with Town Crier. The Town Crier is kind of like 7 Wonders, where if you find this card either out here or in the deck in your hand, you can build it for free. Now I'll show you what that means. So let's see, the storehouse. The storehouse gives you the wood carver for free. There's the wood carver right there. So if the wood carver is ever available, you can just put him out here for free. When you do that, you take 1 of these occupied tokens on the storehouse. Now you can't do that multiple times. So just know that that's the whole point of that. But here's what I love. Notice that the art shows you which critter is going to show up. So here's the storehouse. There's clearly the wood carver there. because it's the same character. Same thing here with the general store. You can see Mrs. Rabbit or the rabbit in there. Then right here, the shopkeeper, it's this rabbit person. It's pretty neat how the art does that. It sets you up kind of for what you're going to get for free. Obviously up here it tells you what you could have to get this for free. The other thing you can do is prepare for the next season. The way that works is if all your workers are out and you don't have any more actions you can do, you would then pull back your workers and then take whichever worker is for the next season. So for spring, you would get one additional worker. You would also trigger any of your green cards, so any of the cards that have this green symbol on them, they would trigger again in your tableau. Same thing when you move up, you would draw 2 meadow cards. This one, you get 2 more workers. So you're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 workers by the end of the game, and your green ones trigger again. Last turn, after everyone's passed and finished that, the game ends. There's one special action down here that can only be done during autumn. To do this, you must discard cards equal to the point value you want. So if you want the 5 points, you would go here, discard 5 cards, get 5 points. Into the game, you tally up all your points. Whoever has the most points obviously wins the game. The way that I really like, the thing that I really like about it though, these purple ones really are much like guild cards and 7 Wonders. They give you a lot of points based on what you have in your tableau. Now this is a legendary critter. It's part of the expansion set, but it's really neat. You can also play it solo against the rats, and they include a dice that you use to do a little bit of AI with. So pretty awesome. That's how you play Everdell right there. So that's Everdell. I really like this game, and here's why I really like it. Let's talk a few things first of all. Art is fantastic. You saw when I was showing you earlier the fact that each of the location cards has its own corresponding character, and those can be seen inside the cards. So the art is fantastic. A lot of work went into the art for these cards. It's really, really nicely done. Obviously the Evertree is really nice. Now again, this is what I wanted to bring up earlier when I was talking about the question of the day. My gripe about this, look right here. This is flimsy and worn out now. Part of that is because when the first times I put it on a little too rough and caused that buckling to happen. But you'll notice it's kind of buckled there, and it makes it really difficult to put on and off. Well, the problem is, unless I want to keep this on my shelf as a showpiece, you've got to take it apart and put it back every time you want to use it. So now every time I put the game together, I've got to worry about that piece being on there buckled unless I put some glue on it. So it's a little bit, that drives me a little bit crazy. That little piece, it could create a problem for the board itself. But let's talk about the gameplay of the game. Well, I really like the simple worker placement factors that have locations that are always on the board, as well as some locations that change each time with those forest cards that come out. So I really like the fact that there's variety every time you play. I really like the fact that it's worker placement, yes, but the cards play such a huge responsibility for the game. Like you have these awesome cards and you can put them in your city of 15 cards and they change what you might do. They change, blue cards give you a bonus when you do things, purple cards kind of score at the end of the game. Green cards just give you stuff whenever the green stuff triggers. So it's nice to have the variety of gameplay. Even though it's worker placement, there are so many cards and so many things you can do to collect points using your cards that you can play different strategies multiple times. So I really like that about it. The components look nice, right? I like the fact that you're dealing with twigs and pebbles and berries and resin, not stone and wood and food, right? So it's cute that it takes it down to that micro level to where you're building in this tiny little world of mice and rats and all that sort of stuff. I love the different meeples. I like the idea that it's not really turn-based. So in a sense, you could continue to stretch out your turn if your cards comboed really well until your time is ready to change seasons. Then you get your more workers and all that sort of stuff. So I really like the way the game plays. If you like worker placement games that are pretty, they're light, they're not mean, you definitely need to check out Everdell. It's a very, 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 very good game. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend the looks, the art, the mechanics as well. So go check out Everdell from Starling Games. Really fun game, fantastic game. So I'm Brian Drake here on The Latest Retro. For more videos, check out the playlist down below of all the videos we have on the Dice Tower. If you want to find out more about us, what we're doing on the road, check out BrianDrakeShow.com. Till next time, we'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.